guess the people you love don't always love you back. Hey, what's up? What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year. Welcome back to my channel. We are back in rotation. We are back with the power recaps. I also see that I think Catfish started back, so I'll probably be doing that as well. I gotta watch the first episode. I think it just came out this past week, but I was actually on like vacation or whatever, so I'll start it with episode 2 most likely, unless I have some free time and I'll do episode 1, but it'll be old by then. Anyway, so we on episode 6 of Power Book. Yes, you guys. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So come to find out, Lorenzo, he doesn't even know about Zeke being Monet's cousin, which I felt was crazy because I thought that this was like, I don't know, like in my head, I thought like maybe they was already together and she had the kid and she was just pretending like it was not her child and the mother had died or something like that. But now it's more so seeming like there was some scandal involved where maybe when he first went away, she cheated or something. I'm still trying to gauge the story, but I'm kind of getting it. But that's kind of where I feel like it's headed, like something like that. Like maybe as soon as he got locked away. But even that don't make sense because it was 10 years ago. And obviously she would have had the child before that, unless the child was like at her parents' house or something, and then maybe the parents died. I don't know. I'm just still trying to like piece up the story, you know? But it's like, it's still like so many little pieces that I'm trying to get to find out what's really going on or what really happened. So yeah, he was back. They have a huge party or whatever. Lorenzo got his people and them there. And Drew, he actually brought like his little boy toy Everett to this event as well, which I'm like, out of all people, like, why are you bringing him? Like, you don't even know what's going to happen. You know how your father is. Like, yeah, it's good that you bringing him and you kind of showing him out and you're kind of like open, even though you're not really open. It's kind of like one of those unspoken things, but I don't know. It was just, I felt like he was doing too much. Like, he should kind of see how his father is before he has Everett around that type of environment. Because Everett doesn't have, like, he knows, but he doesn't have a full understanding of how crazy this whole situation is. So, especially, you know, the fact that he's a little talker. Like, Monet had to go over to Everett real quick, and she kind of shook him up, you know, shook the tables a little bit and made him feel uncomfortable, to the fact where he ended up, I think he had ended up leaving the event, well, the party. So yeah, he's like really taking over now. Like Lorenzo, he's coming in with boss moves, like trying to take over the household that he has not been doing anything for in the last few years, you know, and just trying to be the man of the house again. And, you know, Monet, you can tell that she's upset because she got used to a certain way of life. She got used to being the person that everybody has to run to, the person who's in charge, you know, and now all of a sudden she has to like pass over the baton to this man who has not been doing nothing. It's just like, he's just like talking down to her and just making her feel like she's back to like the housewife position, you know. It's like, know your place, just here goes some money, do what you gotta do. Just let me handle everything. I got this, baby. Make sure you have my food ready. You know, the arroz con habichuelas, that pollo, you know what I'm saying? Like, make sure you have those things ready, my mofongo. And that's it, you know? So, it's definitely not something that she has been accustomed to. You know, like, even if, like, let's say you're in a relationship and you're not living with this person, the longer that you're not living with that person, you get accustomed to a certain way of living. So now it's like you with somebody now, and let's say you move in together, now you got to get adjusted. Now you got to switch up certain parts of you that you enjoyed, because now you got to do things together. Now you got to like be around this person more. Now you got to like cater to them as well, as opposed to all I had to think about was myself. The only food I had to think about was cooking my food or my kids' food or whatever. Now, or I could tell them, yo, like, go get some takeout. But now it's like, now she got to do all these things to keep her man happy, because that's, in his head, that's the last thing that he remembers. He doesn't know this new version of her. So it's like, bro, you got to get with the program. Like, you know, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be bumping heads about that real soon, because she's only, like, the way that she is now is a different person compared to who she was before. So you could tell she was vexed about it. And Diana is just like, you know, why is she mad that he's back or whatever? Like, she don't get it. But she definitely almost yoked up Diana, because Diana was the one who took the money, stole the money that she had to get, you know, to bail him out, to get him out of jail, to get the lawyers and stuff like that. She also didn't tell her, you know, so she could have the heads up. So yeah, she was upset with Diana and Diana was acting just like oblivious to everything. Like, it's like she could sense that Monet was upset about certain things, but it's almost like she didn't care, because she finally got somebody on her side who's going to allow her to go to school, who's going to allow her to do what she's always wanted to do, you know? So what happened? Tyreek, as we know, he's on trial for murder, double murder, so double homicide. And no one showed up for him, which was crazy, because, you know, he got all these people like Braden, he got Lauren, you know, Monet, like all these people, and nobody literally showed up for him. So it was messed up. And like initially he didn't even get bail. But so yeah, he was like literally starting to lose his mind. The man started talking to Canon while he was in jail. But you know, kind of, it kind of was like metaphorical, because it's kind of like how people, they kind of talk to themselves, they reflect, and that's how they come to conclusions, is by kind of doing that reflection, self-talk, and just kind of seeing like, wait, this doesn't add up, or this isn't with this. So by doing that, by talking to Canon, he was able to realize that perhaps, you know, the people that he loves the most are the same ones that could have cost him. You know, sometimes it's the one you love the most that hurts you the most. So he came to that realization, because initially when he was doing his self-talk, he was trying to think like maybe it was Monet, like, yo, I'm about to buy you all of them. But it wasn't, you know, then he was just like, you know, kind of talking, thinking in circles or whatever. So Lauren, she was upset with Carrie, because she pretty much got played by Carrie. Like, Carrie knew everything, and Carrie was just telling her like, oh, we need you, you know, just kind of like baiting her. And you know, she was just really taking everything super personal, because of the fact that she was involved with the professor, and she had this like weird kind of, dare I say, chemistry or weird situation with him, where she was just like having sex with him, feeding her addiction, but she also cared about him, even though she knew that he was bad for her. You know, it was one of those type of toxic situations. So yeah, she was definitely taking it personal, and that's why she kept on saying all these like nasty things about Tyreek, like, oh, he's getting what he deserves, he's going to get life in prison. And you know, no one was really okay with that, like as far as his peers that were in college with him, even though like, because they was having a discussion while they was all in on campus or whatever, and no one was really okay with the situation. Especially like light-skinned Keisha, like, I forgot what they call her on the show, but yeah, she wasn't with it. So Monet, she didn't even know initially that Tyreek was arrested until Lorenzo was the one who actually said it, because Monet had met up with Dante, and she was saying that she was going to let him meet his son. Like initially she said she was, but then later on she was saying something about she can't. She was like, oh, that we have to like move a certain way, and he's like, I'm not about to be doing that. Like, that's not me. I'm not prepared to be moving around like that, like moving around weird, just because he respects her so much, you know, which is a very beautiful thing for him to say. Like, some men would have been like, you know what, we're gonna do this, but for for what I see, it looks like both Mecca and Lorenzo have real big egos. You know, obviously she has a type, you know, that strong Hispanic man with a bald head who's just, I mean, I don't know if they had bald heads when she was initially with him, but they command power. They take charge, you know, and they're bosses at the end of the day. And that's the kind of people that she messes with. So he ain't trying to be like no second lover, like, oh, we gotta sneak around. Like, nah, if you gonna be mine, you gonna be mine, and we gonna be proud. We gonna walk holding hands, like everybody's gonna know, like, don't mess with her, she's my woman. Not, oh, we're gonna be sneaking around. Like, nah, he ain't with it. And he also wants to meet his son as well and have that connection, because he's missed all these years of his life not even knowing for a fact that he had a child. So yeah, he wants to have that connection. So initially she assured him that that would happen. But like I said, like, that's when she finds out that Tyreek got arrested, and that it kind of was looking like her and Kane was the ones who did it. Because he's like, yo, why would you and Kane do that when that could lead back to you and everything that child did, you know? So then she was starting to get into like fix it mode, like, damn, now I gotta do what's right, like I gotta get this adjusted. So she did meet up with Davis so that she could give him money, so that she could find out everything that's going on with the case and kind of have a heads up, so that if anything, she's able to, you know, she's able to stomp down in his tracks before it get too crazy. So that was her plan for that. So it looks like Kanan pretty much like ended up getting what he wanted out of the situation with Tyreek, because this actually ended up seeming like it's starting to make him and his mom a lot closer, because now she wants an alliance with him, because first of all, this man is bigging up Drew to the fullest. Like, he wants Drew to be by his side. He wants Drew to be taken over, which I feel like everybody knows Drew's not cut out for this. Drew is not that type of dude. Like, Drew is the type that should be in college. Drew's the type that looks like he has a really good future ahead of him. He wants to have his man settle down and just chill. Like, that's the type of vibe that Drew is portraying. That it's coming off of him from what I'm seeing. You know, Kane is the one that's hungry for all this, that who wants to be in life, who has no other route. Like, he's not even in school. Like, he's just, this is everything for him. You know, it's all or nothing, and he will do what he has to do to get ahead in life. But for some reason, his father is like gravitating towards him and wants everything from him. Ken even went ahead and bought him like this big old chain, like, you know, for his father, like, yo, this is your coming home present. But he's still choosing Drew over him, and it's killing Kane. But like I said, this caused him to get something that he wanted, which is love from his mom. Because even in one of the previous episodes, he was like, you know, you haven't been there for me. Like, you boss and everything, like you the leader, but you're not there for me as a mom. You know, I also need that as well. So now, you know, she's like, you know what, we're gonna have to do what we have to do. We're gonna have to keep this little operation that Tyreek had going, and we're gonna have to make this money, because he's about to shut down everything, and we need to make sure that we're good, you know. So it's like now he got like this secret little bond with his mom, so, you know, he's feeling good about this. So he's finally getting like a little more, he's finally getting to be like number one, because obviously he felt like Tyreek was taking his place. He feels like Drew's taking his place. Sure, sometimes he probably feels that way about Diana. So it's like, even with Zeke, so it's like finally, like, yes, imagine when he find out about Zeke, all hell gonna break loose. Like, it's gonna be crazy, y'all, for real. But so now Tyreek, he ends up enlisting, I would say, Tate as somebody who could help him after he spoke to Davis and Sachs. And he is going to try to use like the political power that Tate has in order to move forward, because he has some stuff on, you know, other people that can help Tate to get back on top. So Tate knew the judge that was going to be working with Tyreek, or presiding over his case, the new judge. So it definitely worked out well for Tyreek, where he only had to pay 10% of his $1 million bail. So I'm assuming that's like maybe $20,000. My math is off, I know, of course, so it's probably more or less than that, but I'm just saying a number. I'm pretty sure it was a manageable number, you know what I'm saying? 10% of $1 million. So yeah, and he's out. But now, you know, the problem is he's trying to get Jazz. He pretty much lost that opportunity. So, and having these charges up against him is not making anything any better. Saxe, he kept on baiting Tyreek, you know, and like, oh, why did you do it? You're a cop killer. Just like saying all these things. And I'm like, bro, aren't you supposed to be on his side? Aren't you supposed to be like the person that's helping him to win? After Tyreek had left, Davis had to give him a real good like talking to, because he's like, you don't ever ask somebody that we're defending if they did it. You don't ever try to get a confession out of them, because once you do that, that messes up everything. We can't knowledgeably put them on the stand knowing that they did something, you know, and that pretty much goes against like ethics, you know, because you know that they're literally perjuring themselves. I mean, I'm pretty sure lawyers do it because of the whole confidentiality thing, but it's not ethical, you know? And I know Davis probably would have still did it, but, you know, he tries to gear on, you know, doing the right thing for the most part. So, yeah, he just had to let him know, like, you know, promise me that you're never going to do this again. Like, give me your word. And despite him looking like he didn't want to give him his word, he did give him his word. But I don't know, like Saxe, I feel like he still has that mentality of a prosecutor, because that's what he's been doing so long. Like even with Tyreek, he's had cases up against him so much that it's like he's so convinced in his head that he's a bad guy and he's a killer and he's going to continue to kill because now he's out on the streets. Like, dude, it doesn't matter. As long as we got him off, we're getting our money. And that's the goal, you know? Like, Saxe, you need to go back to the other side of the tracks if they will take you back, because you're not doing these people justice, especially when he has some kind of vendetta against them. Like, bro, why you still mad? Yes, he did help to end your career because you was going after his father and Angela and all these other things, but still, when you look at it, it was kind of all connected to Tyreek. But so what? Move on. You got a new job. Do the job that you chose to do. Okay? So Braden, he finally talks to Tyreek and tells him everything about the whole situation with Kane, you know, how they moved the body and all that stuff. So Tyreek, he was just like, wow, you know? And he was like, how is it that you let him finesse you? Like, I told you to leave, to not be around this dude. I told you, but you didn't listen to me. So he was like, you know what? At the end of the day, you cut off. Like, and he's like, yo, but we did this together. He's like, yo, you don't need to do this. That's the whole thing that I'm trying to tell you. You don't need this life. He's like, go and ask your dad for some money. You putting yourself in jeopardy. There's people that actually had to do this to survive. That's why they doing this. You know, but he's like, yo, at the end of the day, don't come here acting like you wasn't privileged as well, because your father was well connected and he was wealthy. So we both chose to do this. I chose to do this just like you did. I was like, whoo! Braden just shut him down real quick, because at the end of the day, he's right. That is exactly what happened. You chose to do this, and that's the same thing that his dad was telling him, like, don't go down this path because I work so hard so you wouldn't have to do these types of things. So you could be at a private school, so you could be in a good apartment, or, you know, that fancy place that they was living in, you know? Like, he did all these things to prevent him from doing that. But yet somehow, some way, the nut don't fall far from the tree, right? So Lauren, she pulls up on Tyreek with that badass car that she had, and she was just talking to him, and it's like she was saying that she didn't really know what to do, but he could sense that her vibe was like way off. It was way different. Like you could tell when somebody is like not really trying to mess with you like that, and he was getting that from her. And he was like, you know, he could tell she was acting real funny. And she was like, he was like, yo, let's just go to your room so we could talk about this. And she was like, oh, she really dumped him real quick. Like, yo, that's what they don't say. Like, people love you when they love you and they hate you when they do. Like, you know, that's not how the saying goes, but y'all get what I'm saying. Like, when you're up, they love you, but then when you down, you be down alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody want to be with you when you fly, you got everything, whatever. But as soon as you fall, and that's when you see who the real ones are. Yo, for real though. Like, she dead played him. And it was real messed up though. So Tyreek just ended up telling her, like, yo, you know, she was telling him about like Carrie and stuff like that, and how she says that he's guilty and this and that, and how he did it. And Tyreek's like, yo, like, she, at the end of the day, she was having sex with Zeke and she didn't want to get in trouble. So, you know, and Lauren, she seemed like she was like in shock after that. And she did end up talking to Carrie shortly after, you know, when he realized, like, he was like, yo, it's either you with me or you against me. And she was not with him. So he just kind of like just let her go at that point. It was like one of those unspoken facts where it's just like, all right, I see how you are. Like, you one of those. You're not a rider. You're not like, you was all I had and now I have nothing. All right, I got you. But she went to go talk to Carrie because, of course, she's upset about the whole situation. She feels like she was set up. And Carrie was talking some hot shit. Like, caliente. I was like, oh, okay. You sure right now, right? You real hot. But then Lauren grounded her real quick. Like, oh, you know, telling her that she had sex with Zeke and she was, you know, having an affair with him or whatever. And she was like, maybe we should talk about this when you're a lot calmer, you know, you're more level-headed. She's like, no, I'm good. She was like, and everybody's going to know exactly what type of person you are. So she about to snitchy, like, oh, you wanted me to snitch on my man? Okay. So I'm snitching on everybody. You get it too. You're no exemption to the rule. You want to be taking people down? Okay, let's do this. So now Carrie looked like she's scared out of she box side. Like, she looked like she was shook. Okay? And now we see Effie's back in the picture, honey. And Effie, she's literally, I feel like Effie, she's being the fallback girl. And this is her problem. Like, she's done this before. This dude will use her, abuse her, you know, kind of just suck her in because she's available. And then once he gets back up on his feet, or he gets Diana or even Lauren, he's going to discard her again. That's what I feel like is going to happen. Right now, he feels he needs somebody in his life. He needs that love, that affection, that female touch. So he got Effie back on his side. I mean, but Effie did give him some good talking to. Like, she gave him some good advice because she was like, you know, did you do it or whatever? He was like, you know, first he was quiet. She's like, you know what, whatever's unspoken don't need to be said, you know? And then he also was like, you know, after that, she was just like, with why you and Brayden even beefing? Like, do you even understand why you guys are beefing? Like, maybe you guys should start up everything again, because he's been with you. He's been riding with you, you know? And it made him kind of think about the whole situation. My lips is all chipped up. Made him think about the whole situation and how he could have been kind of, you know, in his feelings about everything. He was like, it's not that Brayden is disloyal. It's just like he's stupidly disloyal. That's the problem. You know, he didn't intentionally do the wrong thing. It's just he wasn't really thinking, like, he did it ignorantly. That's the end of the day. Like, he just didn't know any better, you know? And that's his problem. So she's like, yeah, this because you didn't tell him everything that he needs to know. Maybe if he had more information, perhaps it wouldn't have ended up the same way. And I think that, you know, he's trying so hard to protect Brayden. That was the problem. Brayden didn't know how serious things were. You know, if he knew, of course, it wouldn't have ended up that way, because he would have had everything he knew. He would have been like, all right, this is a bad guy. You know, this is a bad guy. Let me stay away. Let me not do this because he's trying to set my mans up, you know? Like he's a loyal type, but he just needs to have more information behind it so he can be good, you know. So yeah, and he ended up doing the do with Lauren, like, I mean, not Lauren, with Effie, because Lauren wasn't giving him anything that he needs. So he moved on to the next. Super petty. That's super petty. Okay. So Dante, he was literally almost begging Monet to not give up their chance to be together. But she's just like, she came back, you know, after all this time she's starting to spend with her family. She's just like, you know, I can't do this. It's not going to turn out good. She sees how this dude is like controlling everything and just trying to come back on top and make her be, you know, the shopper, the housewife, and the cook, the clean, you know, go back to that life and let him run everything. So it's like, damn, like, you know, I can't do this anymore. And now she doesn't even want to let him see Zeke, which of course that's messing him up, because he's like, you know what, like, if you don't tell him, I will. So you need to come up with something. She's like, stay away from him, okay? And that was kind of like where their scene kind of ended. But Diana, she's being a super snitch because she upset that Monet is trying to make her go to the university in Queens. I feel like she's just trying to keep her around because as a backup plan, just in case if Lorenzo ends up going back to jail, she's still close. Like, because obviously if she's in some college far away, she ain't gonna want to come back. But if she's right in Queens, it's easy for them to snatch her up if necessary, or keep her within the whole situation. She could literally stay at home and go to college, you know, just take the train, well, drive her car, you know. So she's good either way, but she still gets what she wants. So he's trying to manipulate the situation, because her father came to her all like, you going to the university, and told her which one. She's like, but that's not the one I wanted to go to, you know. So she being, everybody's being super petty in this episode. She being super petty, like, you know, Monet has her own situation going on. She had an exit plan that didn't even include you. So here goes the father going to Drew to find out the information, and Drew tells him, you know, she was pretty much going to depend on Zeke, you know. He's like, what I look like asking another man for money or taking orders from another man? Like, that's not me. And, you know, at the end of the day, from what we see, he don't even know Zeke like that. So he definitely ain't trying to rely on Zeke for a strategy. And plus, he's one of the types that some people ain't just made for this life, you know what I mean? And regardless to what opportunities you give them, they so used to that life that they don't know anything else, and they're gonna keep on doing it. Like, you just came out of jail and you went right back into what got you there, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just his mentality. He's for the streets. So yeah, Monet ends up meeting up with Effie, and she was on the phone talking to Tyreek because she handed her the phone, and they had a little conversation where he's just laying down his rules and just like, yo, this is messed up what you did to me. And she's like, it's not even like that. Well, she was like, well, you snitch, I shoot, and you shoot, I slaughter. So just letting it be perfectly clear that she ain't one to be messed around with. And now Effie's going to be the one taking over, because she wasn't really feeling Brayden. She was trying to do work with Brayden so that her and Kane could have that connection to him, since he was the one doing the whole campus situation. But now Tyreek is out. Tyreek could do what he got to do. But Effie's going to be the one to be a connection. He don't even want to mess with them just as yet. So you can already tell, like, Effie means business. Like, Effie's about that life. She knows how to conduct herself, and she knows how to handle herself as well. So this should definitely be pretty interesting. But I hate when it ends like I feel like I need more from this episode, you know? Like, there's so many more questions that I have. Like, how is this going to end up with Dante? Is Dante going to, like, now Dante is saying that he wants to meet up with Lorenzo to, like, because obviously Mecca, Dante is the connect, but at first they was trying not to do that, and King was happy with that. Like, he was being happy being the person in charge. But Lorenzo wasn't feeling that. But now Mecca's like, you know what? I changed my mind. I want to see him. So shit about to get crazy. Like, they both want the same woman. I just want to know, like, this is gonna be some drama, and I'm so here for it. I'm so ready for it. So keep it locked, y'all. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. We're gonna do this. 2022, we here. Okay.